Hello and welcome to the Met Office Weather Studio Live. We're back. It's Friday, 12:15. Met Office HQ here and ready to answer your questions about the weather. I'm Aidan McGivern.
And I'm Alex Deakin. Yes, welcome along. It's meteorological autumn.
Woo!
It's started. Woohoo!
And it feels like it, doesn't it?
It certainly does. The weather has shifted.
It's changed a lot since I've been away. It feels like I've been away for a season. Before I left, I was wearing shorts every day, even at work sometimes, and now back with jackets.
We're all happy you're not wearing them at work anymore. But yes,
was it you that raised that complaint?
I did raise that issue, yeah. But yes, things have changed a lot, so we're looking a little bit at why that may be.
Yep, and of course we answer your questions. We're going to be talking about the weather this weekend and beyond. Have you got any plans?
Yeah, whatever you're up to this weekend, if you want to know the weather, then do send us a message. We try and answer as many as we can during the live, but sometimes we'll look back and answer questions at a later date as well. If you're watching now live, though, do hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, then you want to be subscribing to our YouTube channel, because that's where it happens, right? That's where we're at. Every week, posting regularly. We've done loads of posts this week, haven't we? You already kind of mentioned it. What have you been up to this week?
I've been away for a couple of weeks, got back to work yesterday, and yeah, it's completely changed here and completely different to where I've been. It's been lovely in the Azores, that's where I went. Highly recommend it as a holiday location. Not many people know about it. When I told people I was going to the Azores, only meteorologists knew where I was talking about. You know, if you weren't a meteorologist, if I told someone who wasn't a meteorologist, they wouldn't have a clue where I was talking about. It's actually relatively undiscovered. Meteorologists know, of course, because we're always talking about the Azores high, that high pressure that when it comes our way, we get fine weather. And yeah, there was high pressure over the Azores for a lot of the time, so it was lovely weather. It was perfect temperatures, actually, mid-20s, because they've got the Mediterranean sunshine, but surrounded by the Atlantic, so the cooling effect of the ocean. And that ocean can be pretty wild at times.
Well, I've seen some of your pics, some of your holiday pics. Yeah. We're not going to have a full McGivern debrief of the holiday. You have got something to show now, because this was fantastic.
Yeah, well, I was talking about Hurricane Erin before I left to go on holiday. Thankfully, it didn't hit us in the Azores, but we did get the effect of the massive swell as a result of this ex-hurricane as it passed by. And you can see the size of those waves. They've got this pool that it looks quite close to those waves, but thankfully it wasn't close enough to be affected by the waves. But you can see that.
So that's a swimming pool, and you were in there nice and calm, enjoying the sunshine. Meanwhile, the sea was broiling behind you.
Yeah, that's a public pool, actually. It doesn't belong to a hotel. It's just in a town on the coast. Lovely. They've got lovely areas where you can do lots of swimming and in the sea or in these pools, these little sheltered coves. So the people who live there are very lucky. They've got loads of choice for where to go swimming and stuff. Beautiful scenery as well.
Well, let us know in the chat if you've ever been to the Azores or you want to go, or any other, just a holiday chat. Let's open it up. Where did you go during the summer months? We would love to know. But yeah, fantastic. Looks good. I am very jealous. It does look amazing.
What have you been up to? You've been much busier than me.
I have been quite busy. I've been busy at work, steady as she goes through this week, doing bits and bobs as usual. But yesterday we had a very important visitor. The Secretary of State came to visit, the Secretary of State, and he's basically, one of the Met Office is within his portfolio for science, innovation and technology, yes, Peter Kyle came to visit the Met Office, so it was a very important day. Lots of people were on.
You're on your best behaviour.
We were on our best behaviour, basically, yeah, and he came and he did a bit of a weather forecast as well, so he kind of came to see us in the studio. We can show a clip of that now.
So we've got wet and windy weather clearing away from the northeast of England, and actually for most places it's going to be a lot drier overnight tonight with some lengthy clear spells. So it will turn a little chilly. Those winds across the south, they'll be easing down as well. So actually it will be a fresh start to tomorrow. Secretary of State. It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Welcome to our studio. Do you fancy having a go at doing the weather?
I'll have a go. You have to tell me what to do though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very easy. First thing to do is to get you a mic.
Okay.
There we go. So just clip that onto your lapel.
Okay.
And the main thing is just, natural. I always imagine I'm talking to a loved one, a friend, and maybe like a little bit further back. And Rich will adjust.
Okay.
Because you're a bit taller than me.
I was going to
Rich
say,
will adjust
I'm afraid
the-
there's a bit of a
No,
height
that's
thing
absolutely
there.
fine.
Is that
there
home
you go.
that I see there?
Yes, it is. It's all built for you. It's all built up for you.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, there you go.
Hello and welcome from me, Peter Kyle, the Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology, coming to you from the Met Office studio. Forget the rain clouds and low pressure systems. Today's forecast is all...
He was actually really good.
Yeah.
He was top bloke and actually quite good at presenting the weather. He had to read a bit of auto cue and presented the weather, waved his arms around. I told him it was easy and he took to it pretty well, so it was good.
Yeah, looked good. Yeah, brilliant.
Earlier this week we released the storm names as well, so a bit of chat. We'll have more on that, won't we, later on? But yeah, the storm names are out on Monday, so it was a busy start to the week. And the summer stats. Again, more on that to come. But it's been a busy old week. A few questions already coming in.
Yeah, plenty of questions from you guys at home. There's a storm Dave, which is close to being my dead... What is a dead name? Spherical...
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
A dead name. Dave, Dave is one of the most popular choices.
Someone else
Dave is a... was it one of those popular? I think Amy was the most popular girl's name, and that was our first name in the list. And Dave was, I think, one of the most popular boys' names.
This year,
it's gone
or,
down well.
or
when we put out the appeal for names in the spring, Dave was one of the most common names that came in as well. We had a lot of love for that.
Chazando LFC, always get that wrong. Chazando LFC. The Azores are a group of islands. They are owned by Portugal. Correct? Yeah. 9 islands in the Atlantic. Portuguese. Interestingly, when Spain took over Portugal a few hundred years ago, Portugal still had control of the Azores, so the Portuguese capital was in the Azores for a brief period.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, back to the UK, and there have been questions, I'm just pulling them up now, from the last week's deep dive. Honor did the deep dive this week, I should say, and we had some interesting questions. One from Weather Follower. What's the point of restarting at A at the beginning of each storm season? Normally we average 5 or 6 named storms, which would take us up to F or G. Couldn't we just pick it off where we left off? And that's an interesting question, a question that lots of people ask when we talk about storm names. And one answer is that we keep it consistent with other storm naming centres, not just the US National Hurricane Centre and the Hurricane Naming Convention, but the storm naming centres across Europe and other tropical cyclone names across the world. So there are lots of centres of named storms around the world, and we'll keep it consistent by starting with A. Why do they do it? The Americans were the first to come up with this system of having pre-made lists that they rotate, and that came after, by the way, using the phonetic alphabet, the military phonetic alphabet for a few years back in the 50s. And that came after various different ways of naming storms, including naming them after wives and girlfriends of the military during the Second World War, and also naming them after saints' days and so on. So there have been lots of different ways of naming storms.
It's an evolving thing, isn't it? It's evolved throughout the years. And the American system, or the North American Atlantic system, the North Atlantic system is on a rotation. So ours is slightly different. We don't publish the list for 6 years in advance. They've got a 6-year rolling list, don't they, that starts tonight. Their season runs from June the 1st, officially from June the 1st to the end of November. You can get them earlier than that, but that's the kind of the official season. So we kind of have a similar pattern. So we're going to keep it consistent. So we miss out some letters like they do as well. We miss out 5 letters. So we only have 21 through the storm name. So it's to be consistent with that. That's why we start A every September, but our season kind of runs through the whole year.
And there's a kind of natural reset then. You start with A each season. That's the first, denotes the first of the season. And it's interesting to see then how far you can get through. It's a good indicator. We've got to K twice, haven't we? So it's a good indication of how stormy a season is, how far you can get through the alphabet.
Got to L, didn't we, once? Yeah. I think L's the first we've been.
Did we? Was
I
that
think we got
last
to L
season?
last year.
Okay.
Yeah, and K once. They're the two furthest. I think that's right.
Ray Haddock 779 has asked a question also about storms and is wondering whether anyone's looked at the energy carried in storms both individually and collectively, how this might have changed or not through recent decades. You've been looking at this, haven't you? The accumulated energy.
Cyclone energy is something that we measure. Well, again, mostly done by the National Weather Service in America. They measure hurricanes by accumulated cyclone energy, how much energy they've generally generated once they've formed, and it's called ACE for short. And it's quite a good way of measuring how powerful a storm is. Not necessarily just in terms of wind strength, but just in terms of the energy, because you can have really intense winds over a small space, but then larger storms have not perhaps as intense winds, but of a larger area of strong winds, if you see what I mean. So all storms are different. They're all different shapes and sizes, and accumulated cyclone energy, or ACE, is a good way of kind of grading them for just how powerful they were overall. So it's not necessarily just one wind gust that's been measured. It's about a bigger picture about how storms are. And what we can see from that is that that metric has actually increased with climate change, we think, because a warming sea provides more energy for these storms. So there's a definite trend in the energy within these storms on average. It doesn't necessarily mean there's more powerful storms. One thing we are also seeing with climate change is that things like hurricanes are intensifying more rapidly. So there's no strong signal for whether they're getting stronger overall or weaker overall, but they are intensifying more quickly. They're going from a Category 1 to a Category 4 way more rapidly than they were doing in the past. And we've seen some really explosive generations of storms over recent years, and a lot of that is to do with the sea surface temperatures. So that's not directly applicable to the storms that we see, because they're different beasts. They're no longer hurricanes. They transition, or they're just low pressure systems that we see picked up by the jet stream. But there's a signal that hurricanes are getting more energetic.
Yeah, and in the UK, although we're not necessarily monitoring I don't know what happened to the screen there.
Did we get a weird flicker? Oh.
Yeah. I think, well, it might just be our screen. Let us know. What we're seeing in the UK, instead of measuring that accumulated energy, we're seeing a lot more rainfall. So one of the indications of climate change and what we're expecting in the future is that when stormy weather happens in the UK, we're likely to get more rain as a result. The rain is becoming more intense.
A warmer atmosphere holds more moisture, so when it rains that much harder because of climate change. So that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're expecting to see, and that's why we're getting wetter winters. But also, when these storms come, they drop more rain. There's an increased chance of seeing flooding as a direct result. But yeah, in terms of wind strength, there's no obvious pattern, and in terms of just sheer numbers of storms, there's no obvious pattern either. It's quite a small sample size because we've only been naming storms for 10 years as well. So.
Altair 8598 has said, I keep asking this, but not been fortunate to receive an answer from you forecasters yet. It's basically
sorry.
Here it is. Asked a question about whether the temperatures, when we talked about the record-breaking summer, whether those temperatures were recorded in full sun, partial sun, light shade, or deep shade. I didn't know there were so many categories of shade.
No, who knew? Who knew? Deep shade.
So, and how do you pronounce Taig? That's T-A-D-H-G. It's one of the new storm names. Taig, that's how we pronounce it. But yeah, to answer that question about whether the temperatures are measured in the sun or the shade, I guess you could call it the shade, but they're measured in Stephenson screens, which are these white boxes that allow air to come in and out, but shield the thermometer from direct sunlight. Because if you have the thermometer in direct sunlight, basically the mercury or the alkaline in that thermometer will be heated by the sun, rather than by the air surrounding the thermometer. You want it to be heated by the air surrounding the thermometer to measure the air temperature, rather than how hot the thermometer could get by sitting there roasting in the sunset.
Didn't you make a video about that?
I did, yeah. Why do we measure temperature in the shade? So search for that on our YouTube channel, and a full explanation there.
Excellent. Yeah, keep your questions coming in. Let us know what you're up to this weekend. If you've got plans that are weather dependent, roughly speaking, Saturday's a better day than Sunday if you've got plans this weekend, if you can shift things around. But we'll have more of a look at that at the board in just a second. There'll be a quiz coming up, which I believe related to the storm names. So we'll have more on the storm names later on also. And there's lots more on the storm names, particularly on our TikTok channel. So if you don't follow us on TikTok, make sure you follow us on there, because we've done quite a few posts about the new storm names on our TikTok channel.
Brian Van Duinen is going on a 2-week hike in the Scottish Highlands. Will the weather take a turn for the better?
In the Scottish Highlands, yes and no. There's signs of high pressure. Shall we have a look at the weather?
Yeah.
Shall we go to the board and see what the weather's doing for this weekend? Let's head over and yeah, roughly speaking, as I said, Saturday is better than Sunday. What's going on? Well, quite interesting with the jet actually at the moment, because it's kind of split. We've got a kind of double jet coming across the Atlantic, and both picking up areas of low pressure. Both the branches of the jet are developing areas of low pressure. And if we actually just play through this, you can see that it kind of merges. This arm of the jet dips south and forms one bigger trough, and as a result, this low, the low to the south of the UK, kind of becomes the dominant feature through the weekend, and it edges and edges and edges towards us, and the lows kind of merge, but definitely the one further south becomes the dominant feature. However, as it does so, we're Saturday afternoon, it's not really impacting the UK yet. All it's doing is allowing this high pressure to sit to the east of us, squidging the isobars together, so it gets windy across the UK, and we will see that the winds pick up as that southerly flow, but of course coming up from the south is going to bring some warmer air. So what we are going to see is the temperatures rising through the course of the weekend. And if we look at what the weather's doing out there this afternoon, mostly set fair, 1 or 2 showers around. Fast forward to Saturday, again 1 or 2 showers here and there, but notice that breeze just steadily picking up, particularly in the west. Could get quite lively gusts with the winds coming up like this and bouncing up over some of the hills. The chief meteorologist particularly picking out areas like the north coast of Northern Ireland, so we'll get that bouncing up over the hills of Northern Ireland. Could get quite gusty along the north coast, and some lively gusts of wind also across Wales and southwest England. Small chance of 1 or 2 scattered showers here and there, but for most places Saturday is a dry day, a fine day. Because of this weather system approaching, it's going to throw quite a lot of high cloud around, so the sunshine could be fairly hazy at times, but generally Saturday is a decent day. But if we fast forward through Saturday and into Sunday, well, you'll notice that rain is edging in. So if we go through Sunday, let's not go that quickly. Sunday probably starting dry in the east, and actually it doesn't look that wet. So we've been talking a lot this week about Sunday turning wet and windy. Actually, I don't think it's going to turn especially wet, certainly in the east. There will be quite a spell of rain in the west, and also the winds will pick up more widely. So Saturday is the breeze steadily picking up, getting quite gusty in the west, but Sunday everywhere does get quite windy. But all the while the wind's coming up from the south, so it's actually going to turn quite humid. Temperatures really picking up over the next couple of days. Well, we see some sunshine, 23, 24. Similarly on Sunday, notice those eastern areas seeing the highest temperatures, and by Monday we're back to, well, around about average, perhaps a touch below, but warmer than average for the next 2 or 3 days. And it'll feel quite humid as we go through the weekend on both Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, that's the way it's looking for the weekend. Great North Run, of course, on Sunday. And the weather looks pretty good for that on Sunday. I think we'll see just increasing chance of some cloud and rain edging in by the time we get to Sunday afternoon. Of course, it starts in the morning, but first thing, it's 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it'd be quite breezy. Should help push the runners along for that last section along the coast. But increasing amounts of cloud and maybe a few spots of rain getting into the Newcastle area later on. We have, though, definitely seen a shift in our weather patterns. A lot of people talking about how the weather's changed. It seems like it changed from the 1st of September, from meteorological autumn. A big shift, and it's turned a lot wetter. Is that true, and why have we seen that shift? Well, firstly, it's not strictly speaking true. Actually, the change started to happen a little bit earlier. If we look at the rainfall through August, this is the average across the whole of the UK, but this is the rainfall through August with the dates going along the bottom here. And this is what we actually saw, this blue line here. And this is the average, the black line here, the accumulated rainfall. The first week or so, we were pretty close to the average. And then, look, we really saw a pretty lengthy dry spell. It didn't rain very much at all, and that's why that brown area grows, because we're getting below the average. So August in particular had quite a lengthy dry spell around the middle of the month when you average it over the whole of the UK. But notice that uptick here. So it just starts to change. Really for that last week of August, we did start to see more rainfall coming in. I want to show you something else interesting about that, because actually when you compare it to summer, that dry spell in August, really quite noticeable. Over the whole of summer, so this is going from June through July and August, for the first 2 months, we were pretty close to that average. Now that is hiding a lot of regional variation, because a lot of that rain was falling across the north and the west, was a large part of England didn't have a lot of rain, or it was falling in short bursts, as is often the case through the summer. But quite interesting to see that. And for more on the details for the summer stats, there's another video on our YouTube channel that Alex recorded earlier this week, Alex Burkill with Dr. Mark McCarthy. But just wanted to show you how that change, that transition to drier spell through August, but then right at the end of August, so for that last week, we started to see rainfall increasing. So it wasn't really just that flip as we got into September. We started to see the rain actually changed pretty much after the bank holiday. The bank holiday weekend was the 24th, 25th. Monday the 25th was actually a glorious bank holiday for much of the UK. But after that, we started to see the change. And one of the main reasons for that was, as we talked about earlier, Hurricane Erin. This is the satellite picture from the 24th of August, that big swirl out in the Atlantic. Here's the UK. That big swirl is the remnants of Hurricane Erin. It wasn't a hurricane by this stage. It had changed. It was no longer a hurricane. It was an ex-hurricane. It had gone through what we call post-tropical transition, and that's the track it took. So on the Friday, it was still a hurricane, and then it transitioned, wasn't a hurricane, and it came sitting out here. And that's what kind of triggered the change. And it also altered, interfered with the jet stream. So one of the reasons why the summer was dry and especially hot, hottest summer on record, was the position of the jet stream. For much of the summer, I'm going to try and get my magic pen out now, so let's see if we can make this work. Much of the summer, the jet stream was in a position up here, taking low pressure systems up away to the north of the UK, up towards Iceland, and that took all the rain up here, allowing high pressure to be sitting in here, and the winds go around high pressure in a clockwise motion, so that allowed often quite a lot of warm air to be drifting up from the near continent and across the UK. So that was the setup that we had for a good part of summer. The jet stream up here, high pressure sitting close to or to the east of the UK, allowing that warmth to come up. That's why we've had, one of the reasons why we've had the warmest summer on record. But what we've started to see now is a shift, partly because of ex-Hurricane Erin moving in. Such a powerful system, such a lot of energy, it tends to interfere with the jet stream. So most of the time we talk about the jet stream, that fast-moving ribbon of air high up in the atmosphere, moving low-pressure systems our way. But when you get particularly energetic systems that go all the way up through the atmosphere, like an ex-hurricane, then that can buckle the jet stream and interfere with it. And what we've seen since Erin kind of came past was that jet stream is now much more in a position much further south, and that's bringing the low pressure systems along with it down and coming in from the Atlantic. And we've seen low pressure system after low pressure system moving through, bringing us the spells of rain and bringing us the fairly frequent showers. Now what can happen sometimes is these ex-hurricanes travel way up to the north, and what they can do is actually make the jet stream buckle even further, and they can go all the way up here, and that allows, particularly in September and October, you get high pressure systems again building in across the UK, and you get the warmth returning. If those ex-hurricanes travel further north, they can, what we call, amplify the system and allow warmth to come in, but also they can interfere with them and send them further south, and that's what we've seen over recent times. So that is why we've seen that shift. And yes, although we're getting a bit of a respite this weekend, it looks like into next week the weather is going to remain fairly showery and pretty unsettled. So that's the reason, one of the reasons why we've seen that shift in our weather over recent times.
Yeah, it certainly felt like a big seasonal change, hasn't it? From the summer to the autumn and bang on cue. Fascinating. Nikki Turkin, I have a question. Yesterday we got some isolated thunder near Drogheda in Ireland, and I'm wondering if there's any chance of lightning over the next few days.
Well, not going to see any today or tomorrow. There might be one or two sharp showers tonight developing. As we see the southerly drift, as we see the winds coming in, we might just see tonight some of these scattered showers coming up from the south, but I don't think they're going to have any lightning in them as such. And then we're not really into a showery situation until we get behind this weather front that comes in. So there's the low coming in on Sunday, and wrapped around that there is this clutch of potentially heavy showers. Don't take the detail of this too literally, because as I say, there's a lot happening with the upper atmosphere and the jet, so the timing of this band of showery rain coming across Northern Ireland later on Sunday may well vary, but certainly there's the potential within close to that area of low pressure. The air is rising more rapidly and everything's what we call more unstable, so there's certainly a chance of some more thunderstorms coming into Northern Ireland, most likely later on Sunday and into Sunday evening.
Martin,
and after that it stays pretty showery, so there could be more.
Martin Baines, have we retired any storms names in the last 10 years?
Well,
we don't tend to retire
Yeah.
them because our list is different every year, whereas the Americans retire them because they've got this 6-year rotational list. And actually, speaking of storm names, our tropical cyclones expert Julian has messaged me, because we were talking about how the Americans, for example, start with A every season,
Yes.
and many storm centres around the world do. Well, actually, he said an exception is the Australian cyclone names, and also the North Indian and Northwest Pacific names. They continuously cycle, so they pick up the following year where they left off.
Okay. Well, I mean, there is a suggestion that we could do that, and it's often been talked about. But it is one of those situations that does keep evolving. We could do that, but it's quite useful for us every September to reignite it, because the whole point of naming storms is to get people's attention. So it's quite useful every year to have a new list, because it gets people's attention. We can get some traction, for want of a better word, on social media. So that is one of the reasons why we do it, just to raise. But we're talking about it now. If we had kept the same list, we wouldn't be talking about it every year. We'd probably have a new list every 5 or 6 years, really. So it's quite good for us just to get it in people's consciousness.
And the point of that is so that people are aware of when these storms are happening, and then they take action to protect themselves, and so on.
Good old Julian. He's a regular viewer, and he's so good. I mean, it sounds like we could do a whole deep dive just on storm namings around the world with Julian. That would be good.
Yes. Yeah, we'll pencil that in.
What's the most retired letter? He told me this the other week. What's the most retired letter from the hurricanes? I think I got that right.
That'll be quite high up the list, right?
Oh, which one? Wow.
But not necessarily A, because A would be early in the season before the storms really get going.
Exactly.
So I'm going to go with...
Because Alex is on the list. Alex has been on the list for ages. So not that many A's get retired. Andrew was a famous A that's been retired, because that was a big, powerful one.
I'm going to suggest F.
Ooh, I. I is the most retired storm name in the hurricane. And Julian just knew that off the top of his head the other day. Of
course he did.
Such a clever guy.
Right, speaking of storm names, that is the theme of this week's quiz.
Whoa, let me put the thing up and play the music.
How well do you know your storm names? This year's list, of course, came out earlier in the week, and I've based all of this week's quiz questions on the list. So all the answers are names from the list, plus the options, because it will be multiple choice. As always, you can play along at home, and you can take part in the quiz by answering the poll. Rosie, our colleague, will be expertly posting the poll questions, and so you can
Yes, thank
vote
you, Rosie.
your answer.
I'll be putting my answers. I'm not going to Google the answers. I'm just going to put my replies in teams to Aidan. So no cheating going on, honest. But they're all based on the storm names, and it's multi-choice, right?
I think it's quite easy this week.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see.
You always say that.
Okay. What was the first name of the author of Dracula? Was it A, Bram, B, Yana, C, Oscar, or D, Vubbo? Bram,
Right.
Yana, Oscar, or Vubbo. That's the first name of the author
of Dracula. I'm not.
You read it?
No, I haven't actually. No, I'm not a big listener. My daughter was doing a GCSE literature choices last night, and she named 3 books, and it was, which of these are? She was asking me which was the better one to do, and I was like, I haven't read any of them, to be honest. Fortunately, my wife had, so she was she was able to. What was it? Inspector called Romeo and Juliet, I think, and yeah, another one, and I hadn't read any of them. I'm not. Yeah, my sister thinks I can't read, but yeah. Anyway, fortunately, my wife had read them, so she was able to offer her good advice.
Yeah.
Right, I've answered.
Sounds very highbrow.
Yeah.
This is question 2. What is the name of the world's most powerful X-ray telescope? Is it A, Chandra, B, Isla, C, Cassia, or D, Vubbo?
Vubbo, one of the answers for all of them. If you put
While you're considering that, the most popular answer for question 1 was Bram, 73%.
What are the options again? Isla. It must be an
Chandra,
acronym, mustn't it?
Isla, Cassia, or Vubbo?
It's got to be one of 2, isn't it? But I can't think of an acronym for a telescope, an X-ray telescope. You'd think it'd have an X in it, wouldn't you? If it was an X-ray telescope, if it's an acronym. I'll go with that.
Okay, your answer has been
Locked in.
locked in. Martin Bain's Chandra is a telescope.
Oh, what?
That's what Martin says.
Martin.
Ruth O'Hare said Chandra. That's the most popular answer. 62% of people.
Martin, when you tell me that earlier,
said
Martin.
Chandra. You're not allowed to look at what
I'm
people
not allowed to look. I'm not
know.
Alex Burkill. You know what he's like. Dirty cheat.
Oh, my mum has got in there with a correction of my Irish pronunciation.
Ah, good.
Thanks,
well
Mum.
done, Mrs. McGibbon.
It's when I mentioned the town in Ireland.
Oh, what did you say?
It's Drogheda, she said. I said Drogheda. Sorry, Mum.
Drogheda.
Should know better.
You should know better. Yes, well done. Glad that your mum's watching. That's great.
I think that it's her Irish hearing.
She just picks up on it. She doesn't watch normally, but she knows when you're talking bad Irish.
Question number 3. Now, have you seen the 3rd season of The White Lotus?
No, I haven't seen the 3rd season of The White Lotus. I've heard people talking about it.
This might be tricky then. What is the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger's son who recently starred in the 3rd season of The White Lotus? Is it Dave? Do you think it's Dave?
I know a little bit about The White Lotus, and I don't think there's many Daves in it.
Dave Schwarzenegger.
Dave Schwarzenegger.
Is it Dave? Is it Oscar? Is it Patrick? Or is it Vubbo? What do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger... Now, I'm asking about his son's real name, not the name that he had as his character in The White Lotus. What's Arnold Schwarzenegger's son called? He starred in The White Lotus. Is it Dave, Oscar, Patrick, or Vubbo?
I've heard people talking about that. What's that podcast that we listen to?
A few different answers. Lily Hopkins, I really hope Vubbo is an answer to one of these questions.
So do I.
Martin Baines has guessed Oscar. 61% of you at home have said Patrick.
Ooh. Well, that's what I put. So
Yeah, that's what you put. Okay.
fingers crossed.
Okay. Question number 4. Have you watched Frasier?
Not recently, no.
How well do you know your characters? Which of the following is not the name of a recurring character in Frasier? Is it A, Eddie, B, Lilith, C, Marty, or D, Stevie?
Oh, now.
So 3 of those
are in
recurring
Frasier.
characters in Frasier.
Because Lilith was in Cheers, wasn't it? It was his like estranged wife in Cheers. So I'm assuming that character continued over into Frasier. Someone mentioned the other day, because I saw it on our TikTok channel, that they'd picked 2 out and said, oh, obviously a Frasier fan. It was Lilith and something else. I think it was Marty. So I think Marty's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Is Eddie his brother? I think Eddie might be his brother, so I'm going to go Stevie. That's my thinking. That's my working. I've shown my working here.
Do
I get marks for working?
Your reasoning is wrong because Niles is his brother. But you might be right.
Oh, right, I might have got
Anyway.
lucky. Okay. Is there a dog? There's a dog in it as well, isn't
said
there?
Marty. Yeah, Eddie's the dog.
Oh, yes!
Oh, I've given away the answer now, haven't I?
Well, no,
anyway, Stevie is the most popular answer, 47%.
Oh, get in. I'm confident.
I think people at home are doing well, actually.
Yeah, this is a good quiz.
Okay, question number 5. Final question. Who was the first Dutch citizen in space? Was it A, Bram, B, Jana, C, Marty, or D, Vubbo?
You have me at Dutch. You had me at Dutch. I know the answer to this as well because I was watching BBC Breakfast the other morning, and my good friend Matthew Taylor was talking about storm names on the sofa with the presenters, and this came up.
This fact came up.
Matt knew he knows his stuff. Mr. Taylor, so he knows his stuff.
Well,
so
if he's watching this, he'd be doing well.
I'm sure he'd be watching. So yeah, that's how I know.
Okay, you've done pretty well. Pretty well, I have to say. Should we talk about the answers?
Yeah,
but
let's
before
go through
we
the answers.
do, the poll for that one, Jana was the most popular, 51%. Interesting.
Some people weren't watching BBC Breakfast the other morning.
Alfie Law said Jana. Martin Baines said Jana. Okay, not one that a lot of people. You guys are better at Frasier and the White Lotus
than Dutch astronauts.
Dutch astronauts. Okay, let's do the answers. So, first name of the author of Dracula. A lot of people knew this. Correct. If you said Bram Stoker, of course.
Stoker.
Irish. And Martin Baines said Bram is on the book cover, but is it his first name? Actually, his first name technically is Abraham. So Bram is a short name.
Oh, is it short for Abraham?
Of Abraham, yeah.
I did not know that. Whoa, every day's a school day. That's good knowledge. Bram short for Abraham. Makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Bram Stoker's full name was Abraham.
So you got that right. Question 2, unfortunately, you got it wrong. Most people at home got it right. What's the name of the world's most powerful X-ray telescope? That is Chandra.
As an ex-astrophysicist, I should know. Chandra, what does it stand for?
It doesn't stand, it's not an acronym. It was named in honour of Subramanian Chandrasekhar, an Indian-American astrophysicist. So it was named after him for his work on the structure and evolution of stars. It orbits Earth at an altitude of 139,000 kilometres and observes high-energy regions of the universe like black holes, supernova remnants and galaxy clusters.
Are you reading that?
No. Not at all.
Well, I've learned something from each name, so it's a good quiz so far. I'm doing 1 for 2, which isn't great, but I'm confident I'm going to pick up again. What's question 3?
Question 3, what is the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger's son?
It's got 2 out of 2.
Surprisingly, it's not Dave Schwarzenegger. It's not Oscar Schwarzenegger. It's not Vubbo Schwarzenegger either. It is Patrick Schwarzenegger. Also my middle name.
Also your middle name. As people who watch our TikTok channel would have found out.
The tease that we did talking about the storm names.
So it's Patrick Schwarzenegger.
My mum's watching. She was going to name me Patrick, but thought it might get shortened to Pat or Paddy. We ended up naming our dog Paddy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you was worried you'd be called Paddy McGivern.
That's pretty Irish, isn't it?
That is pretty Irish. Yeah. Well, Aidan McGivern's quite Irish.
Yes, correct. Which of the following is not the name of a recurring character in Frasier? Your reasoning was wrong, but you got the right answer. It's Stevie. Eddie, of course, is the dog. Lilith is the ex-wife of Frasier. Marty is his dad. Stevie is not a recurring character.
Oh, that's good to know.
So 3 out of 3 storm names in the list are Frasier characters.
Yeah.
There must be a fan in the Met Office, selecting these names.
Must be Leslie. Leslie's in the know. She's one of the ones that gets to.
Next year, Niles Frasier.
Right. Well,
Okay,
I've picked up.
You're on 3 out of 4. Who was the first
confident.
Dutch citizen in space? You know this. It is Wubbo, of course.
Wubbo.
Interestingly, Wubbo Ockels was the first Dutch citizen in space, but not the first Dutch-born person in space, because there was a chap called Lodewijk van den Berg who was Dutch-born, who went into space before Wubbo Ockels. But he was a naturalised American citizen, and as a result, he had to give up his Dutch citizenship before he went into space.
Wubbo Ockels is a great name. Good name for a band. Performing tonight at the Dublin Castle.
Yeah.
Wubbo Ockels. Neil Barnett, 5 out of time. Woo. Well done, you, Neil. I got 4, so I'm with Mike Tilsley. Liam Parker got 3. Sin Wong got 4. Paul Skilling 4. So close, almost got 5. Me too. Keeps us coming back though. Keeps us coming back for more. Donald Barron, bottom of the class. Donald, 1 out of 5. Come on, you clearly don't watch our TikTok channel because you'd have got a few clues about that.
Yeah.
But better luck next time.
Slim Handel can never beat the presenters. Tied Honor on 3.5 last week.
What is it? Well, Honor said she was going to play, actually. Is Honor in the chat? She said she was going to play.
Very quiet.
She is very quiet, isn't she? Hopefully she's making brownies to bring in next week. Yeah, let us know, Honor. Her dad's not in the chat either.
He only makes... He's fickle. He only makes an appearance when Honor's on.
Yeah, I've noticed. A bit like your mum, really.
What, when Honor's on?
One more thing I want to show, actually, because I forgot at the board, because this might be interesting to people. Lunar eclipse. I forgot to mention this. There's a total lunar eclipse this weekend on Sunday night. The actual eclipse starts before the moon comes up, but as the moon rises, it may be a kind of browny orange shade like this because there's a total lunar eclipse going on. So for a few hours after moonrise, which is about 7:30 in the UK, full moon, going to be orangey, reddy, browny colour. You do need clear skies for it. So let's have a look at whether you're going to get clear skies. Sunday. That's too far. If we go back to that Sunday, 8 o'clock. So that weather system is actually moving out of the way. So actually there's a pretty decent chance across a good part of the UK. Yeah, probably not northeast Scotland, you're probably not going to see it. There will be some showers coming in here, but with that breeze, the showers should move through. So it's going to be one of those ones where you need to take a peek, have a look. But yeah, look for the moon rising in the east. Could be a glorious shot, actually, if you get a good view, and many places should have those clearing skies at least. If you go out and it's cloudy, then just give it half an hour and go out again, because it'll be a couple of hours while the moon is that kind of pretty shade of orange colour because of the lunar eclipse. Here's quickly what's happening. The Earth is getting in between the sun and the moon, and the light comes around the sun and goes through our Earth atmosphere, which is why the moon kind of is a reddy shade, because our atmosphere is very good at scattering the light, which is why the sky is blue and why the sun appears red when it gets low in the atmosphere. And it's the same thing, so the light comes through our atmosphere, gets scattered, which is why the moon kind of turns a browny, orangey red. So keep your eyes out, keep your eyes peeled, or keep a lookout for that on Sunday night. If you've got clear skies, have a look to the east for the rising moon, for the eclipse.
Should be good. We talked earlier about the summer and why it was so hot. And if you've not seen it, Alex Burkle did a really interesting video with our colleague Mark McCarthy on the cause and all the nitty-gritty of the summer. So we've got a little clip here, actually.
Records have fallen this summer, a really extreme season overall when we look at the statistics in the context of our historical climate records.
So let's delve into it now then. So we've got a variety of charts that we're going to go through.
through the next 10 minutes or so. But starting off, and let's get to the main headline really. So looking at mean temperature, and this map, what does it show us? So this is showing that essentially everywhere across the UK was warmer than average for the summer, and in the darkest red areas, that's showing sort of regions of the UK where the temperatures were more than 2 degrees above a normal summer that we would expect. And this widespread red area is more than 1.5 degrees above the average for a UK summer. So really the notable thing here is how widespread the warmth was over the whole of the UK this year, and not confined to sort of an isolated heat wave in a particular location.
And from looking back at previous seasons to looking forward to upcoming seasons, something we often talk about at this time of year in particular are the kinds of global drivers, those features of the global weather and climate across the world that can affect our weather in weeks or months to come. And if you're interested in learning more about those and how they're important to our weather during the autumn and winter, for example, Honor did a great video which we put out on Saturday last week that explains everything. We've got a little clip from that as well.
We all know that the UK weather can be, well, changeable. But what if I told you that there are powerful global forces at play shaping our weather patterns in ways you might not expect? From the jet stream pushing storms across the Atlantic to phenomena like El Niño and the Indian Ocean dipole. These global drivers don't just affect the weather halfway around the world, they can also have an impact on the weather right here in the UK.
Anna's very good at global drivers. She's not very good at the quiz. She's messaged. She only got 2. Must try harder.
Yeah.
Must try harder on it. But yeah, you can catch that video about global drivers. Really good. We'll put it in the chat or in the link. Along with that video about Alex Burkill and Dr. Mark McCarthy going into a really deep dive about the summer stats. It was really quite interesting.
That's probably it for this week.
I think so, yeah, but don't forget you can follow us on Spotify as well as on here. We're across all the social medias as well, so do check us out on TikTok. And yeah, if you haven't already, do hit the thumbs up. It does us a big favour, means we can keep doing this. Spread the love, let everyone know that we're on here. We do try and answer those questions as best we can, so keep your comments coming, whether you're watching this live or after the event, doesn't matter, we do go through those comments. So yeah, we're here for you guys, so we really want to enlighten you as much as we can around the world of meteorology.
Thank you for watching, and we'll be back again next week.
Yeah, I think it's Honor and Alex next week, so have a great weekend, and yeah, check out the lunar eclipse if you can.
Bye-bye.